Hello, welcome. Christelle Robinson-Tiedemann, aka Cree, coming to you live for HD Thursday. Yes, this was HD Friday, but we have switched it to HD Thursday, and this is a weekly segment inside of my Collective Perspective membership. And welcome to the new members of my membership. We are growing, and I couldn't be happier. The Collective Perspective is my monthly membership community centered on the art of contemplation and human design experimentation. We practice bringing the unconscious into the conscious and learning through lived experience. Thank you for joining me. Welcome. Say hello. Let me know who's here. Say hi as you come in. I just want to check here, make sure that I am live. I can hear myself and see myself. Hello. Yes, we are live. Hi. I missed you last week. I was away visiting my parents back home, which was really sweet. They celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. So that was really, really lovely. But I missed you. And we are back with a doozy today. Before we get started, I always think that it's helpful for our topic today. Maybe you don't necessarily need your chart, but I think it's helpful to be able to look at your design and pull up your chart and see what is your type, what is your authority, what is your strategy. So if you don't have access to your chart, you've never pulled it before, all you need to do is head to the description box inside right here. So scroll down, head to the description box, and there will be a link to my favorite chart generator. You just pop in your birth information, so that will be your birth date, your exact birth time, and the city and country that you were born in. Pop that all in, your chart will pop up. So take those few minutes to grab your chart, pull it up, have it in front of you as a reference. I think it's a lot easier if you do that. Grab yourself a beverage. Cheers to you on this Thursday evening. And come on back for a really exciting HD Thursday this week. And say hi as you come in. Let me know who's here. Type in your type, your profile, your strategy, your authority, whatever. Let us know who's here. So I am a 4/6 projector. And we are going to talk about today common human design myths. So this is going to be a really fun one. This is going to be fun. I'm curious, like, are these some that you've heard about? Are some of these myths things that you believe? I would be interested to know. So as we go through them, let me know what is a shock to you, or even if there's others that I haven't mentioned. And I think there are tons. I honestly hear misleading information about human design every day. And I will be very honest. I recently became certified. So I've been studying human design for a few years. And I recently decided to become a certified human design analyst. I'm like, I want to know everything. That's it. Like, enough piecemealing this information together. Let me learn from a master. And I had to bust some of my own myths. And there are even some things that I'm going to mention that I have perpetuated, some myths that I have perpetuated myself before I became certified. So this is a public service announcement to everyone. I want to be easily available to anyone who's interested in human design because it matters, right? And discernment is really important. I am a huge fan of not just learning this information for the fun of it, because it's cutesy, because I can say, hey, I'm a projector, but really so that I can change and impact your life, so that I can improve your own life experience. And in order for it to do that, we have to transmute it through our system. It has to make sense. We have to move with it. And therefore, we have to do something called experiment. So we need to do our own human design experimentation. And when we're doing that, it's easier to bust some of these myths. And you can really learn to, when you're following your strategy and authority, to be more discerning. But sometimes getting the wrong information can be really misleading. And so we're going to set the record straight today. So I hope you have your charts in front of you. Are we ready to get started? Yes? All right. Common human design myths. And Please pop in any questions that you have along the way into the chat. At the end, I'll take a moment to answer any questions that come up and dive a little deeper as long as we have time, okay? Let me take another sip of water. You can also pop into the chat. What are you drinking? All right. Here we go. Common human design myths. Number one. Oftentimes people think human design is like a fortune-telling tool. One of the many questions that human design analysts will get is, what job am I supposed to do? Who's my soulmate? It is not a fortune-telling tool. Human design is not going to tell you what your career path is, what your specific job is supposed to be, who your soulmate is supposed to be, or where exactly you're going to find that person. That is not what this system is about. And this leads us right into myth number 2, which is a really important foundation for understanding human design. And that is that it's a personality profiling system. It's not. Human design is not conceptual, it's actually physical. So the body graph that I had you just pull up is actually a physical, energetic representation of you. It's not meant to be conceptualized. It's not meant to just hear some information and interpret it in these like wild, fluffy ways, or to kind of, I don't know. The word that keeps coming to my mind is like make it into a game where then it's like this fortune telling thing. It's actually physical. So that body graph, those centers that you see, those translate into your organs, to your nervous system, to actual parts of your body, your physical body. Your aura, which is something that you will learn when you get a human design reading. It's one of the first things that you will be taught what your aura is. Your aura is a real electromagnetic force that can be felt by other people. I'm a projector. The aura of the projector is penetrating. Ooh, it's really windy. I hope we stay together. When I walk into a room, others can quite physically feel my energy. There is a presence. When your aura is being penetrated by a projector, you feel it. So this isn't a conceptual thing where it's like you feel into others. I am my aura. So this field and your aura, this has scientifically been measured. It's about 3 feet in every direction around you is how far your aura extends. Unless, and here's a special little tidbit, unless you have gate 15 defined in your human design body graph, then you have something called a double wide aura. So people with defined gate 15, your aura is actually about 6 feet. So once you enter about a 3 feet radius to another person, there is an electromagnetic interaction happening. So when I, as a projector, I'll use myself as an example, it's the easiest, am given the strategy to wait for the invitation. When I walk into a room and my aura goes like this, directly into the magnetic monopole, which is within the G center of another person, and they feel this they tend to look. We projectors, we don't have to say anything when we walk into the room because it's felt. People will eventually turn and look at us like, what's up? Like, what's going on? Like, what do you want? Like that energy is there, whether we like it or not. That's why added on top of us, like with our words and our attention and our energy thrown at a person in addition to our aura penetrating them, it's too much without their permission. It's too much without their consent. So that's a real physical experience. All of the gates inside of your human design body graph, so where you see all of those numbers on the left and the right side, all of those numbers, those translate to actual genetic codons. That is genetic information that was passed on from your parents and your grandparents. So this system is meant to be taken physically. It is meant to be taken literally, though not concretely. And we're going to get into some more myths where people are going in the concrete direction, and this is where discernment is necessary. But I want to first start there. It's not cutesy. It's not meant to be overly interpreted. It's not conceptual. It's physical. And I can't help it because I love to teach this. The main thing that your human design body graph is teaching you is how to listen to the wisdom of your body. Literally. Okay? All right. If any of these are like, whoa, what? Huh? I didn't know that. Or it's like, yeah, write that into the chat. Let me know what's landing, what's not landing, or what's surprising. Okay. Moving right along. Myth number 3. One person's chart, one person's human design is better than another person's. Or there's a good design versus a bad design. There's no such thing as a good design. There's no such thing as a bad design. I mean, I think my design is great and the best, but that's not because it's literally better than anybody else's. It's just, I love me and I love my design. It does not exist. And I know you're listening to this right now and you're like, but Cree, you don't know this part of my design. It's the worst. Yes, I guarantee that every other person also is going to argue with you an aspect of their design that is worse than yours. There is no bad design and there is no good design. There is just designs. There is just difference. Human design is the science of differentiation. Humanity makes up one giant mosaic, and every person is like a puzzle piece that fits in, is like a tile that fits in. When you look at a full portrait, if you look at a full work of art and it's broken up or smashed into little pieces, you can't say one is better than the other. It's all needed. It's all necessary for the whole. That is what your design is. It's your unique contribution. It's your unique flavor. So, is there a challenge in everyone's design? Abso-freaking-lutely. Is there a gift in everyone's design? Abso-freaking-lutely. Can two very similar designs, people with two very similar designs, one person interpret theirs as a challenge, the same aspect as a challenge, and another person interpret it as a gift? Absolutely. So it is your unique experience of your design that would cause you to be like, this is bad. Believe me, trust me. Once you start to experiment, and if you want a space to do that, please come into the collective perspective. As you start to experiment, you will start to fall in love with it. You will start to grow, have acceptance of parts that seem challenging. You will start to get more comfortable. You will start to have a little bit of sense of humor. I love to bring joviality to this because we can make anything serious, super serious in life. That's not going to help us, So it's about learning, trying new things, being brave, being courageous. But there is no single aspect of a design that is worse than another one. So I hear projectors say, generators say all the time, like, oh, I have to wait to respond. It's so challenging that I have to respond rather than just initiate like a manifestor. And then manifestors are like, oh, my repelling aura. People are afraid of me all the time. People misunderstand me all the time. I'm in trouble all the time. There will always be an aspect of your design that feels difficult. And your work is to learn to integrate it. It's to learn to understand it. It's to learn to be able to find the gift, to express the gift. And the more comfortable, the more that you actually walk in alignment with your design, the more you'll start to see how beautiful each design is. Okay. Myth number 4. This one is a huge one that I come across all the time. When people are dabbling in human design, but they haven't gotten more of a human design education, so they haven't really learned from an expert, or they're simply like misinterpreting or being super concrete. When I mentioned before that it's literal but not concrete, this is a huge one that I come across all the time. That there are aspects of your design that are meant to limit you or say what you can and cannot do. That is not a thing. That is not a thing. I'm a highly spiritual person. Spirituality is a part of my human design experiment. It's part of my coaching. It's part of my daily practice. And one of the things that I believe is that if you have the desire, if the desire was put within me, it's because it's meant to be mine. Where we can get confused is the best method for us, the best way for us, the best strategy for us. And this is where your strategy in human design comes in handy. But it's not meant to tell you what you can and cannot do. So when I was trying to think of, I'm like, how am I going to be able to explain this? Like, so that people understand. And a metaphor that came to mind, or something that popped into my head, was recently on social media. It's been trending, the woman push-up. That might not be what it's called, but it's all over the internet now, where people are posting that, oh my gosh, this whole time we've been doing push-ups the man way, but if you simply turn your hand outward like this instead of like this, women can do multiple push-ups. And so they're calling it like the woman push-up. This popped into my head. When we hear things in our design where it's like, oh, I cannot do that, or I am, this is going to be one of the myths further on. I don't want to bust it, but this is one of the myths further on, is like, I don't have a sacral defined. I'm a projector, so I don't have energy. That's not true. And we'll get deeper into that. That is not true. I can't do certain things. I can't do a big project because I'm a projector and I don't have energy. Absolutely not. It's like saying that I can't do a push-up, but it's like, oh, if I actually turn my hands like this, I can do a push-up just fine. What is the avenue for you and your design? This is what your body graph is showing you. Your body graph is depicting to you your access to what you want, your avenue to what you want, where you have ingrained strengths, where you need to collaborate with others, where you need to lean on others. It's not telling you at all what you can and cannot do. That would be like saying that there's I just thought of the saying, there's only one way to skin a cat. That is disgusting. I don't even understand that saying. But there's not one way to do anything. Okay. Like, even for me to walk to the store, if I want to walk to the grocery store, there's like 15 different routes that I can take. I can go straight down, turn right, go down a side street, turn again. I can find all these different pathways. I'll end up at the grocery store. But if someone was like, you can't turn right on 12th Avenue, oh my God, I can't go to the grocery store. I mean, we could also just take 14th Avenue instead. Like, that's what saying that my design says that I can or cannot do something. That's the same thing that we're doing. So release that, let go of that. I think a lot of times what people do is they can use, when we don't actually take the time to invest in properly understanding a system, we let a system be an excuse for us to not show up for ourselves in our lives. We let dogma be a way for us to not have to look within ourselves or go deeper within ourselves or challenge ourselves or be uncomfortable out of our regular formula. So human design is by no means telling anybody at all what they can or can't not do. It's simply letting you know, based off of how you were born, the energy that you incarnated with. This is the best route for you. This is the best strategy for you. This is the decision-making force for you. Okay? Any questions that are coming up, pop them into the chat. Just want to make sure that I'm still live and okay. All right. Cool. Are we getting these? All right. We were on number 4. All right. We're moving right along. Number 5. So based off of like this last one, that there are aspects of your chart that can limit you or that tell you what you can or cannot do. Do not let anything, I want to reiterate it again. If you are interpreting your design and you've decided, oh, shucks, I can't do that thing because I'm a blank, you need to book a reading immediately. You need to consult someone immediately because it's not true. The question that you're looking for, maybe it's that I don't know how to do this thing. And so I want to figure out what the best way is for me. Okay. Now, a little subset, this brings me into number 5 and number 6. A very common one that I just mentioned. Projectors don't have energy. So, non-energy beings, that is the term for any type that is not a generator. Generators and manifesting generators, which are both generator types, are called energy beings, and non-energy beings are all the other types. Non-energy sounds like not energy. Concrete. So remember when I said it's not meant to be taken concretely? That term needs some investigation. So if you don't know what it means and you just read it and it's like, oh shoot, I don't have energy. Absolutely not. Look at me. I'm here. I'm talking to you. Clearly, there's energy involved, right? Projectors have energy. It's not true that they don't have energy. It's not true that they're lazy. It's not true that non-energy beings don't have energy. All it means is that their energy is not consistent in their body. Their energy is not coming from the sacral center. And the sacral center is the center that makes a generator or a manifesting generator. And the reason that generators and manifesting generators are called the generator types is because the sacral operates like a generator, which is like a constant hum. That's the kind of energy that the sacral provides. It's a constant access to energy. This is the reason why when your sacral is not defined, you're called a non-energy type. It doesn't mean you don't have energy. It just means it's not consistent. So what does that look like? That looks like operating in spurts. For example, if you are a manifestor, there will be a download, there will be a creative high, and then the manifestor needs to rest. Depending on the manifestor, that could look really, really different. Some of them rest throughout the day with naps. Some people go a couple of days. If they have a big project, they can go a couple of days and then crash for a month. Either way, it's inconsistent. A projector, such as myself, I need rest. I need to listen to when my energy is depleting. I need to pay attention to when my body is telling me it's the right time. And on top of that, I am one of the most efficient types. Like projectors are able to get certain things done more efficiently than any other type when they're in the right energy, when we've been recognized, when the invitation is there, when I'm in the presence of a generator, when it simply means that the access to energy is not consistently coming from me, and therefore I need to pay attention to when I need to rest. But in the moments, in the times when it's right for me to do whatever it is that I'm called to do, we're extremely capable. It's just, again, understanding that there are different avenues. There's different access to energy. So when I rest, when I even lie horizontal and I allow for my body to be in that rested state, something really happens to the projector. It's like it's like fueling my body with self-love. That rest does so much for me in a way that does not work for a generator, right? So it's simply understanding the mechanics of your own type. But there by no means does it mean that you don't have energy. It simply means that you don't have consistent access to energy. Do I need to have consistent access to energy? No. And this is where conditioning comes in. This is where it's really important to understand on a deeper level what human design is teaching us in terms of listening to our bodies. We are conditioned, we are homogenized, we collectively have been, the school system, society, try to teach that every single person needs the same thing. The only reason that any non-energy type thinks they're lacking is because we've conditioned to be generators. And in all fairness, generators make up 70% of the population. So yes, it's easy to be conditioned by a generator because most likely you're going to bump into one at any second, right? But because we're homogenized, because we're taught we're supposed to be the same, it's the same way that the school system, we have finally realized that that type of learning, that structure does not work for everyone. Does it mean that you're stupid? No. Growing up with ADHD, I did think that I was stupid because I didn't fit into the regular learning structure, only for me to grow up and realize I'm quite brilliant and to actually have that reflected to me. But because of the structure that I was put in, it was the only school system that my parents knew that was available, it really made me question my own intelligence. This is the same way that we can think about, oh, you don't have energy, oh, projectors are lazy. Not at all. Our energy is not meant to be the same because we all have a different purpose, and we are all called to fulfillment for each type lies in your own purpose. So we'll get into another generator myth soon, so I'll say more then, but it's really important to understand that it's not bad to not have a sacral and be called a non-energy type, and it's not good to have a sacral and be an energy type. They're simply different, and this is the beauty of the science of differentiation, which human design is. Okay? Pop in any questions, anything that's coming up. All right. Number 6. Another concrete one. And I will agree with you that the names that Ra Aruhu gave to these types, maybe better ones someone could come up with, but manifestor, a manifestor. Manifestors are the only type that can manifest. Not true, not true, not true, not true. Not true. So just because a manifestor is called a manifestor, it doesn't mean that they're the only type that manifests. Let's understand the term manifestor and manifestation in the way that we talk about it in general language as two very different things. Okay? So all types are capable of manifestation. What does it mean that a manifestor is called a manifestor? Why are they called that? It is the mechanics of what makes a manifestor. And the centers in your body graph are what determine your type, which centers are defined. The throat center. So there's a saying inside of the human design system, all roads lead to the throat. Why? Because the throat is the manifestation center. It's the center of expression. It's the center of putting out into the world. It's the center of action. My human design teacher says that manifestors should be actually called actioners. A better description would be actioners rather than manifestors. So I'm actually going to show this to you to help you to understand. And I finally figured out how to share my screen. I mean, I hope. I haven't tried it live, but like I'm going to show you on the body graph, and you can pull up your own body graph if you want to see this. I am going to share with you, which one do I want to share? I'm going to share this one. So let me just confirm that I can see this. So I want to show you why a manifestor, oh, that's not the one. Oh, yes, it is. Okay. So a manifestor, why they're called a manifestor is because a manifestor has a motor connected to the throat. That is what makes a manifestor. If your body graph does not have a sacral defined, this is the sacral center here. Okay. If this center is open, like in this chart, and a motor in the body graph is connected to the throat, there are 4 motors, including the sacral. So any of the other 3 motors connect to the throat center. So in this body graph, here's the motor of the ego connected to the throat. That makes this person a manifestor. The ego center, I can't tell if I'm blocking it. I am. My face. I'm sorry. I don't know how to move. I don't know how to move my face. But right here, that triangle underneath the red triangle, that's the solar plexus, the emotion center. That's a motor. And the other motor is down here at the bottom, the root center. So any of those 3 motors connected to the throat in any way makes a manifestor. And a manifestor is here to initiate. They're the only type that, because they have the energy directly connected to the throat, this is why they're called the manifestor. It is direct action. They can take action straight from their downloads. From they have an idea of what they want to do, they go straight into action. Every other type has to have some other avenue before they go straight into action. And that is why a manifestor is called a manifestor. I'm going to show you, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to show you a different one. So that was a direct connection to the throat. Here. This is also a manifestor. Here's the throat center. This is the spleen. The spleen is not an energy center. The root is an energy center. The ego is an energy center. As you can see, if you follow up this line, so you're following the arrow, right? Wait, can you guys not see the arrow? I can't tell if you can see the arrow or not. But at the bottom square, that brown square, it connects to the brown triangle on the left. That connects all the way up to, you can't see it? Thanks, Terry. Okay. I thought that my arrow was working, but it's only working for me. So I'll try to describe it verbally. You can see the graph though, right? Oh, you can see the arrow now? Oh, okay. Is the arrow on the brown square of the throat? Okay, sweet. Okay, I'm getting it. So this is the throat center. If we go down, that's the spleen. It's not an energy center. But if you see that it connects all the way down to the root at the bottom, so this is still a manifestor. energy center, it goes through the spleen, up, out into the throat. So that direct energy from the root, it's a pulse, pulses through the spleen into the throat. That makes a manifestor. So there is no barred pathway from energy to action, energy to expression. Okay? That is why they're called a manifestor. If you can see on, let's find a projectors chart. This is a projector chart, one of my newer members of my group, my membership. So her throat is defined. Oh, wait, I don't think. Okay, there. Her throat is defined, as you can see where my arrow is, but there's no energy center that passes to it. Ego is open, right? The solar plexus is open. The root is open. So, yes, she can manifest, but in order for her to manifest, she waits for the invitation, right? She, all of the other types, there is another step, there's another pathway before getting to complete access into manifesting. So I'm going to show you one last example. I'm going to show you a manifesting generator. This is a manifesting generator chart. A manifesting generator is a generator, meaning their sacral is defined. Where's my arrow? Okay. It's so hard to see the arrow. The sacral is defined, so you see it colored in there, right? And so that makes them a generator. And then the manifesting part is that they have a motor connected to the throat in addition to their sacral defined. So here is the motor connected to the throat. Okay. So this person, yes, there's a motor that's connected to the throat, but because they're a generator, the sacral is defined. The generator strategy is to wait to respond. Therefore, the generator must respond before moving into their action, what's right for them. So it's simply depicting that not that manifestors are the only ones who manifest, but manifestors are the only ones who have a direct access of energy straight to the manifestation center, the throat, the action center. All right, we got complicated there, but I know my human design geeks will appreciate that. All right, so we all manifest. It just simply means manifestors are the only ones that have nothing in their way to taking action. The rest of us, we wait to respond. We wait for the invitation. We collaborate with, we might need another person. There's multiple nuances. All right. And another type myth, another type misunderstanding. My generators. I have so often heard generators are the worker bees. I freaking hate that. Who wants to be a worker bee? Nobody. Nobody. It sounds like a slave. Generators are the worker bees. They're built for the 9 to 5. This is not necessarily true. The important thing to understand about the generator. Yes, they have that consistent access to energy through the sacral. But the key thing is that generators are here to be deeply satisfied by what they do. They're not here to simply just work. That's not what it's about. And actually, the truth is that the number one, the type that comes to me with an issue of feeling low energy the most are generator types. Why is that? Because they're often doing things that they don't want to do. And when they don't feel lit up by something, when their sacral isn't excited to do something, when their sacral doesn't get an aha to do something, They don't have access to that energy. So generators are not just meant to slave away. Generators are meant to put an abundance of energy into things that they love doing that bring them deep satisfaction. That is the proper interpretation of that. So there is potential for unlimited energy access, but the satisfaction is a very important part. The the desire, the rush, the energetic pull towards doing it, that is a necessary aspect for those mechanics to work. And thank you so much, Terry, for your guidance there. I totally would have been lost. Okay, so generators, I like to say that generators are builders, not worker bees, because that really implies it being about the outside. The worker bees work for the queen. The queen tells them what to do and they just work for the other. No. Satisfaction is the important aspect here. Generators are here to put their unlimited energy into the things that they love, into the things that bring them deep satisfaction. All right. We are at number 8. Number 8. There is no nuance inside of the human design system. That is not true. There is plenty of nuance if the previous myths have not already shown you that, depicted that to you. I am a splenic projector. My human design teacher is a splenic manifestor. The way that I experience my splenic hit is different than the way that she experiences her splenic hit. For me, it comes in like, it actually feels like a hit. It's like a pulse. It's like, whoop, like I feel like a jolt. And for her, it's like a whisper. There's nuance. The way that a manifestor informs, a manifestor strategy is to inform. There are so many different types of informing. There is asking permission. That is a type of informing, and actually the way that children were meant to teach manifestor children to inform. It can be a small inform, like I'm going to grab something out of the closet. It can be a massive inform, like I've had a huge vision and I need to tell the right people so that they either get out of my way or hop on board to help me out with this. There's so many different nuances to the way that informing looks like for a manifestor. And that's just within that one type. All the different aspects of your body graph, there's so much uniqueness in there. So all projectors are not the same. All manifestors are not the same. All generators are not the same. All reflectors are not the same. I mean, especially reflectors, I feel like that might be one of the biggest myths. A reflector has no defined aspects in their chart. They're all white, but they have different gates. That is their uniqueness, right? So there is plenty of nuance, and this is why your human design experiment is extremely important. Extremely important, because you can't simply rely on one person's experience to be the same as your experience, or one person, another type's experience to be the same as another type, or a profile. Will there be similarities? Absolutely. But your uniqueness is meant to be experienced through your own experimentation as you walk through using your strategy, using your authority. So there is plenty of nuance and uniqueness within the human design system. All right, we have a few more here. This is a fun one. So oftentimes I'll have people ask me, I'm a 6'2" manifesting generator. What's my perfect romantic match? What's my perfect match? What type or profile is my perfect match? It's not a thing. That is not a thing. Is there harmonics in the human design system? Absolutely. So there are profiles that harmonize with others where you can relate to another in a certain way. But the truth is as we're understanding that this is all about the science of differentiation, 162 profile is not like another 62 profile necessarily. Like I said, one generator is not like another generator. There is no such thing as there is an exact design that is a perfect match to your design. Even if you looked up all the perfect electromagnetics to your chart. So an electromagnetic is when one person has one side of a gate and the other person has the other side of the gate. So together you create a channel. So it's it's literally what we call chemistry. From a human design perspective, that is chemistry. Sometimes that can be attraction. Sometimes that can be you just automatically like a person when you meet them. And sometimes it can mean that that person pisses you off more than anybody else. Electromagnetics can manifest in many different ways. And one of the reasons I love using the gene keys, so in my collective perspective membership, we contemplate every month on a different gene key. We walk through the month with this gene key and experiment with it in our own lives, share our contemplations. But the beautiful thing, if you ever wanted to look into the gene keys correspond to the gate. So all the numbers that you see inside of the human design system, there is a correlating gene key. And the way that the gene keys describes each of these gates is on 3 frequency levels. A shadow frequency. So basically like the lowest expression. But within the lowest expression, we can access the next level, which is the gift. And then from the gift, we can access the city or the highest frequency. One thing that we know for sure that it's important for you to understand, just because, let's say we're contemplating this month, gate 17, gene key 17, just because I might have gate 17 defined in my chart and someone else has gate 17 defined in their chart, it doesn't mean that they're operating at the highest frequency, that they're accessing the gift of that genetic coding. They could be in the shadow of that genetic coding. No matter what the aspect of your design is, there is choice. There is our own actual expression of that, right? So 2 people can have very similar designs and still present as 2 very different people. Because also on top of just what frequency are you operating at, your life experience. One thing that your human design body graph cannot demonstrate is your life experience. Where were you raised? Who were you raised by? What happened to you as a child? The city that you live in. Were you the only Black kid in an entirely white neighborhood? Like, I don't know why that randomly came to mind, but like your life experience is not something that's going to be inside of your human design body graph. So when you look at someone's body graph, you have to understand that you don't know what that person has walked. You understand where their tendencies will lie. You'll understand what some of the personality aspects of this person will be, but you don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they've been through. And what we've been through, it molds us. What we've been through molds us. What we've been through conditions us. And furthermore, people can go through very similar experiences and respond very differently. So there is so much variability inside of every single individual, inside of every single person, inside of every single person's design. So this is why I don't really like going down this route of like, is there a perfect design match for me? I don't know. Maybe the person who grew up in a similar household, similar upbringing, similar culture with a different kind of design than you works beautifully. And there's actually something that you can look up for fun. There is actually like attraction chemistry between two different people. That's another thing that you can look up. Maybe we'll do an Ishi Thursday on it. And a lot of times people are like, oh, is one, because let's say one, for example, is called a romantic attraction. Two different charts will have, versus another will have an adventurous. My husband and I have an adventurous one, and people will be like, oh, the romantic one is better. Well, I don't know that that's true. That's not going to promise that you're not going to break up. That's not going to promise. Maybe there'll be a lot of passion in certain ways and a lot of fights. Like, there is individuality. There is your own maturity. How much inner work have you done? How much personal reflection have you done? You know? So on top of our design, that individual person has so much, they bring so much to the table in terms of the way that they choose to show up in their life for multiple different reasons. So we can't just base this off of looking at one chart and comparing it to another and knowing that these people are a perfect match. So very, very important to know. Okay. And that kind of goes back to the one where your chart can't limit you or tell you what you can and cannot do. Absolutely not. You get to be in charge of that. And you get to use the information from your design to help you. All right. Another important one we've got 3 more. An important one for our projectors. Wait for the invitation. This one comes up a lot with my projector clients. That wait for the invitation means sit on my butt. So you're just telling me I have to sit around and just wait? And nothing's happening. How is that fair? This is the worst design ever. That's one interpretation. And then another interpretation is, oh, well, I'm supposed to wait for the invitation, so I guess I don't have to do anything. No, and no. No. That is not what that means at all. So waiting for the invitation is, first of all, explaining that what I described before, your aura is penetrating, and therefore you want to have the consent of another person. That's what I thought too. What did you think? That you just have to sit and wait? I love that I brought this one up. Oh, no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So the projector's purpose is to guide, right? We're here to guide the other. Our existential question as a projector is, who are you? We're very interested in the other because we came here as a guide for other people. Therefore, other people are a very important aspect of our fulfillment, our incarnation here on the planet, period. If you're a projector, that it's going to involve other humans, right? And we love that. Like, this is something that we love to do one way or another. We are here to guide. Now, first of all, that waiting for the invitation is not for things like, what do I eat for dinner? Should I brush my teeth? I'm trying to figure out what book to read. Like, this is, we obviously don't need to wait for the invitation to do plenty of things in our life. And when we understand that, the other thing that we'll understand is that, right? The other thing that we'll understand is that our energy, the way that we're given this aura that is very penetrating into the other, it's felt, it's magnetic. And so our job is simply to present ourselves and let those who are looking for what we have to offer come to us. But the thing that the many projectors are missing is, if they can't see us, they can't invite us. If they don't know we exist, they can't invite us. We don't need an invitation to start a social media page. We don't need an invitation to put ourselves in the availability to be invited. We don't need an invitation to get a human design certification because you're obsessed with human design and you love doing this shit. I don't need an invitation to get my master's degree. I didn't need an invitation to grow my coaching skills. I didn't need an invitation to deep dive into internal family systems. We have a natural drive. Projectors have a natural desire within them to dive deep into something. Like, I truly believe that projectors are like all nerds deep on the inside for something. There's something we're obsessed with. We like to obsess over something. We don't need invitations to go deep into that. And what happens is that as we grow in our own knowingness that I have something to share, that my energy is sacred, that I have a wisdom like no one else, that I see things that people don't see. You know, if you're a projector, you know that you see things about other people in your life that they don't see all the time. And then we think that, oh, because I know this and they haven't asked me, then like nobody values me. No, the truth is that we want to offer that in exchange. You want to, it would be like constantly trying to give something to someone that they don't want. That doesn't feel good. The reason that the projector waits for the invitation is because in the exchange, in the recognition, there's an energy boost. We get that recognition, we light up, and we're able to deliver. So it's a mutually necessary interaction. It's a mutual process. The invitation is for them as much as it is for us. That person is saying, yes, give it to me. And therefore we get to give it to them in the way that we're meant to, because we're quite direct projectors. And we get the recognition that all of this amazingness that we have is ready to be received. So you learning, you putting yourself out there, for example, I'm a 4/6. That is my profile. My 4 line is all about network, all about the community. Me joining multiple different groups because I'm so interested in different things. I've gained so many clients from the different groups that I've joined. Did I join those groups because I was like, haha, I'll get a client out of this space? No. I love learning about whatever that thing is. I join the group. People see me, people come towards me. So the more that we are walking in alignment with our own energy, the more that we're feeding our own interest, the more that we're resting, we're feeling delicious and juicy and geeked out on the things that we love. And then we take the step to allow ourselves to be seen, the invitation will come. And so that is something that I've worked on with clients in multiple sessions, that we really dove deep into it. And it's something that each projector starts to see clearly as they start walking in their own experiment. But we are by no means meant to sit on our butts. Like, it's the same thing that if I have a client who wants to find their life partner, but all they do is like go home and eat, they go to work and they go home and they eat ramen watching TV on the couch. And it's like, where's my Prince Charming? I mean, I guess the delivery man could come to the door and he could be the guy, but like, you probably should put yourself out there a little bit. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, we have to still make ourselves available. And there is so much that we can do without an invitation. It's basically the final step. The invitation is actually the last part of the process. So there is so much more that's happening. And so it's really important to not let that be an excuse from stopping ourselves from doing the things that light us up, and from stopping ourselves from, I apologize. They're clearly practicing for 4th of July. My neighborhood is a big fireworks neighborhood, so that's probably going to happen again. But not to let it stop ourselves from learning to be comfortable being seen. Most projectors have a sticky, icky discomfort with being seen. And a lot of times that like, oh, I have to wait for the invitation is actually a beautiful excuse to hide. So we have our own inner work to do, and the invitation is the last stage. If anybody wants to dive deeper into that, come get a reading. I love this shit. I'm a projector, but no. Does that make sense, Terry? Does that help to clarify some things? Okay, and we've got two more beauties here. Yeah. Okay. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. All right. So, my projectors, waiting for the invitation. There's plenty out there that you are capable of doing, and in fact, doing in a way that is deeper than many others. All right, 11. I have 12, so we got 2 more. Our last 2. This is one that I will admit I perpetuated when I first started and I hadn't been certified. So when I first started in human design, I was learning a little bit. This is something that if you just look up, let's say on the internet, you search into Google generators, and there's like pamphlets out there or information forms. Something that I saw often. So for generators strategy is to respond. Response comes from the sacral. The sacral simply responds in yes, no, uh-huh, uh-uh, mm-hmm, mm-mm. Moves towards, moves away. It's a binary. That's how the sacral operates. And so when you are communicating with a generator, if you ask your generator friend or your generator partner, what do you want to eat? You're going to get this. Because they're sacral, can't or that. It's much easier to be like, do you want sushi or do you want a hamburger? And they'll be like, ooh, hamburger. Or it'll be like, do you want to have pizza tonight? Mm-mm. This is the way that generators are meant to be communicated with. So very helpful tip for communicating with generators in your life. Ask them yes, no questions. So one of the things that a myth that is perpetuated is that generators can ask themselves questions. Another thing that I deal with a lot with my generator clients is sitting alone in a room, trying to problem solve, trying to figure things out and wondering why they feel stuck. You need to respond to something. You're not going to respond to something sitting in your own mind, right? And so sometimes generators are like, okay, I know, I'll write down yes or no questions and then I'll ask myself. No, baby. The truth is that doesn't work. The reason that doesn't work is, again, when we have to understand that this is not a conceptual system, it's a physical system. What the generator is responding to, it's their aura. So the generator aura, they have an enveloping aura. That aura, it's actually feeling into something outside of itself. If there's nothing outside of itself for the aura to feel, there's nothing for the sacral to respond to. Does that make sense? So this is a mechanical process. My generators, your aura needs to respond to something outside of you, not something inside of you, not just your own idea, not just your own thought. So the same example with like dinner, right? So if you want to sit and think about, what do I want for dinner? Okay, let me ask myself, do I want a hamburger or do I want pizza? You're still going to go, but if you get up and you move towards the kitchen and you open the fridge, you will see the pasta sauce and be like, ooh, maybe I do want pizza. Maybe I want spaghetti. You're responding to the items in the fridge. You can go and browse the takeout catalogs on the fridge. Like, you need to give your aura something to feel, and in feeling, in interacting with, respond to. Okay, so generators, you need something outside of yourself. This is why you go for walks. This is why you have that friend that you call and you just be like, I need you to ask me questions. I need to talk something out with you. Your loved ones, your family members, your partner, like, ask them to ask you questions. You need something outside of yourself to respond to. So put yourself in that environment, because unfortunately, it's not something that you can just do inside of yourself. Okay. There's movement. Your aura needs to be able to envelop It's open and enveloping. It needs to be able to envelop something to give your sacral to respond to something to respond to. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, and our final one. I think I could come up with so many more, but anyways, 12 is enough for today. Our final one. This is another concrete one, and it's kind of 2 in 1. But when you pull up your chart, when you pull up you go to an engine, let's say you go to My Body Graph, and you pull up your human design body graph, and you see no inner authority. So this is my mental projectors. This is my reflectors. You see no inner authority. It does not mean you don't have an authority. I've seen people misinterpret this. I don't have an authority. That is not true. So we're going to come back again. And if you're in my membership, if you're one of my clients, I repeat this a million cajillion times. The human design system is a system that teaches you to listen to the wisdom of your body, What it's saying when you have no inner authority, all that means, and again, I will admit that some of this language is weird and misleading. Like it probably could have been said in a much clearer way. It simply means that you don't have a consistent defined center in the body graph below your throat that is your authority center. Okay. So maybe I'll just share this with you. I'll share one more time with you. I'm going to use this one. So your authority comes from a center. And there's a hierarchy of centers that tells you what your authority is. And your authority is where you make decisions. Okay. So this person is an ego manifestor, meaning that they make decisions from their ego. Everything in human design teaches you that your wisdom comes from your body. And this is the head. Oh, there we go. This is the head center. This is the ajna. Together, these make up the mind. And this is the throat. Everything below this is your body, right? Your head, your body. Our body is our decision maker. Our mind is here for fun. Our mind is here for teaching others. Our mind is here for contemplating, shooting things, ideas, like just, brainstorming. It's not here for decisions. And so the authority is always in the body. But for a mental projector or a reflector, and I don't have a chart, but that would look like somebody who's these two top triangles would be defined. They don't have anything defined in the body. And so it just simply means that you don't consistently have access to one center in the body that is your decision maker. This person who is an ego manifestor has this consistent access to their ego as their decision maker. So when someone has no inner authority, this is big. Decisions in the body. Yes, absolutely. That is what it's teaching us. So our mind is here. Really, I like to say it's here for the fun of it. But the mind is actually a powerful outer authority. An outer authority is a teacher to others. Mental projectors, so people, again, when they don't have any definition below the throat, these are some of the most brilliant people to help you in tossing up different ideas, coming to weighing out different things. Like they're brilliant at that, but they are still not meant to make decisions with their mind. And that's why it says on their chart, no inner authority. It simply means that for those individuals, it's a bit of a more complicated process for them to figure out what their body is telling them is right for them, because it is inconsistent, their access. Okay. So they need to talk things out. They need to, there's different ways. So the reflector needs to wait a full 28-day lunar cycle. That's a whole other thing that we can get into. But there are different ways that different people are meant to make decisions. Every single type, it doesn't matter what your type is meant to make decisions from the wisdom of their body. When you see no inner authority, it just simply means that you don't have definition from the throat down. And so you don't have consistent access to making decisions from any of those centers. So the process will be something that takes a bit more time. And then you will still feel into what's right for them. It's still a matter of feeling into it. So mental projector, environment matters a lot to them. These are people that will move into different environments, and depending on how they feel in that environment, the right decision will come to mind. They can know if a place is right for them based off of how it feels in their body. So, it's a more complicated thing to get into, but there is no such thing as a type not having an authority. Every type has an authority. Every single type, every single design is meant to make decisions from their body, not their mind. The mind is never an authority. Okay? But they do have an authority. It's just not coming from one of these consistent colored in centers below the throat. So that was a lot. That was fun. Okay. So those are the myths that I come across on a regular basis that I have seen through clients, through my own research in my different groups, that I've heard misspoken, misunderstood, and it's really important for us to understand these. So I really wanted to talk about them and put that out there and make this available to anyone. I am curious to know if there's any other things that you've heard in human design and it just seemed like, that feels funny. I don't know. If you don't want to write it now, you can write it as a comment, but feel free to drop into the chat anything that you've come across where you're like, that I don't get it. I'm also curious to know which one of these. Thank you, Terry, for sharing the two that you also were new for you and you didn't know. I would love to know which ones people have heard before, which ones it was new for you, that surprised you. I'm really, really curious, because this is how we learn. This is how we walk in alignment. It's about us actually testing things out. And so I also encourage you, I think the underlying lesson here is, if you hear anything about it from human design, if you hear anything and you feel like that didn't make me feel good at all, I guarantee it's either incorrect or it's a misunderstanding. You're misinterpreting it, because there is no aspect of the human design system that is meant to limit you. I don't mean that it's not going to challenge you, and I don't mean that it's going to not be that it's going to always be comfortable. It will be uncomfortable oftentimes. There's quite the learning curve, because we've all been conditioned, right? We've all been conditioned to be manifestors. We all think that we're supposed to go out there and get it, and then we find out actually only 9% of the population is supposed to do that. The rest of us need to follow these other strategies, right? So if it feels absolutely wrong to you, if it feels limiting to you, if it feels like it makes you shrink within yourself, no, baby, no, baby, no. No, 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 no. No. I guarantee that there is something to learn, something to understand. So do more research, join a group, come into my community, book a reading, but don't let anything limit you. My suggestion is, as a front, if you learn something and it makes you feel limited anyway, just drop it. Just drop it for now and move through the things that make sense to you. Walk with your own experiment. Follow your strategy, follow your authority. And as you're in your human design experimentation, you'll start to then have the actual discernment, that the lived experience, to make sense of other pieces of information. Thank you guys for spending your Thursday with me. Please If you're watching on the replay, I would love to know which ones resonated, which ones were a surprise. And yeah, if you want a space to be able to walk in your experimentation alongside others, talk about these myths, really get an understanding of what your strategy and authority is. My pleasure, Terry. Then join the Collective Perspective membership. It's still in its founding pricing of $44 a month, which is going to be going up very soon. We have some new members coming in. And when we get to a certain stage, I'm gonna, as we expand, I'm gonna start putting the price up. So this is a great time for you to join. It's only $44 a month. When you do join, you will get a preliminary human design reading with me. So, and that human design reading is a 2-parter because I'm all about the experimentation. So I'm going to give you homework and then you're going to come back and we're going to do the next step. But there is a preliminary reading for all members automatically. So for $44 a month, you're already getting a kind of like a mini reading plus all the perks of the membership. And then on top of that, you get 22% off of any of my services. So a full in-depth human design reading, coaching, all of it you have access to for 22% off. We have a monthly meetup that's live, which has hot seat coaching available to it. So it's another actual way to get access to coaching without even booking a session. And you also get to keep your grandfathered in. You get to keep that price. Once you're in the membership, if you came in at $44, even if it goes up to whatever it goes up to, you stay at $44 per month. So this is a pretty exciting time to come into the membership, and I would love to have you. Thank you for spending your Thursday with me. We will be back next Thursday with another exciting topic. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but you're also welcome to drop suggestions into the chat, into the comment section after, if there's certain things that you're really interested to dive into. It's fun for me, so I would love that. I love you guys. Thank you for being here with me. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I'll see you where I see you. Ciao.